We usually think of oversharing and all that online drama as something for teenagers, but let's be real for a second. We adults are posting, scrolling, and curating our lives online just as much, maybe even more. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on some fascinating research that explains the hidden forces behind why we, as grown-ups, share so much of our lives.
I mean, it's the big question, isn't it? We've got mortgages and careers and all these responsibilities, yet our online behavior often looks a lot like a high schooler's. We're documenting every little thing, broadcasting our relationships for the world to see. So what's really going on here?
And you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? That perfectly angled photo of your morning coffee, or that casual but not so casual post where a new partner's arm is just in the frame. It feels like our lives are being performed for an audience. Is this just a collective case of oversharing, or is there something much deeper happening? All right, let's get into it. Researchers actually have a name for this, the adult overshare. And to really get it, we have to stop thinking of it as just, being immature. It's way more complicated than that.
This quote from Dr. Ronnie Rodas, whose research is pretty much the backbone of what we're talking about today, just nails it. He's arguing that this isn't some personal flaw. It's that the incentives are perfectly lined up. The platforms are built to reward us for sharing, and our own brains are wired to want that reward. So we're not being immature, we're literally doing exactly what the system is designed for us to do.
So, if it's not immaturity, then what is it? Let's break down the core human drivers that these platforms are so good at tapping into. And believe it or not, these psychological ideas have been around way, way longer than the internet. Okay, first up is something called impression management. This is basically the age-old habit of presenting a certain version of yourself to other people. We all do it, at a job interview, on a first date, and now we do it 24/7 online. Every single post is a part of our own personal brand, whether we realize we're building one or not. And this is a perfect example. You post that amazing sunset from your vacation, right? But you probably don't post about the 3-hour flight delay or the lost luggage. We're all basically the editors of our own personal highlight reels. And that leads us right into the next big driver, social comparison theory. It's just a fundamental human instinct to see how we're doing by looking at the people around us. The problem is, on social media, we're not just comparing ourselves to our neighbors anymore. We're comparing our own messy real lives to the polished, perfect highlight reels of thousands of other people. So this brings us to a really interesting trade-off we're all constantly making, and it's called the privacy paradox. We say we care about our privacy, but when you get right down to it, that immediate reward, the little dopamine hit from a like or a comment, is just so much more powerful in the moment. We're always trading some abstract future risk for very real, very immediate reward. But look, our own psychology is only half of the story. The other half is the platforms themselves. These things are powerful engines designed to do one thing: keep us engaged. And it's so important to remember what Dr. Rodas's research highlights. When these platforms first rolled out, they really didn't have many safeguards. So our natural human desire for connection and validation, well, it was amplified with almost no limits. And this is how they do it. This is the core mechanic. It basically works just like a slot machine. It's the unpredictable nature of the notifications. You never know when you're going to get a like or a comment that gives our brain a little hit of dopamine. It creates this powerful compulsion to keep checking, keep posting, and keep seeking that social validation. And what raises the stakes on every single post is this idea called context collapse. Think about it. In real life, you act one way around your boss, another way around your mom, and a completely different way with your college buddies. Online, that all disappears. Your boss, your mom, your friends, they're all in the same room, watching the same show. You're performing for everyone, all at once. Okay, so we have our own internal programming pushing us to share, and the platform's design pulling us in. But what's the actual cost? What does the data say this is doing to our well-being? So first, let's just be really clear. This isn't a niche problem. It affects almost everybody. This data shows that social media use is incredibly high across every single adult age group, even for folks over 65. This is a mainstream adult reality, plain and simple. And yeah, that widespread use, unfortunately, comes with some very well-documented consequences. The very same systems that are designed to connect us can also really take a toll. And this is where the data gets super interesting and a little scary. This chart shows the odds of feeling lonely. Now, the blue line, that's total time spent online. It's kind of a mixed bag. But look at the orange line. That's how often you check.
The more compulsively someone checks their phone, the higher their odds of feeling lonely. It's the habit of checking, not just the hours logged, that seems to be the really strong predictor.
And it's not just about loneliness. This evidence map from Dr. Rodas' research shows what scientists are really focused on. See those really long bars? That's the stuff we've been talking about. Impression management, social comparison. But you can also see other huge impacts, like sleep disruption and blurred boundaries between work and home. The costs are very real and they are varied. Okay, so that all might sound a little bleak, I get it. But the good news is, the research doesn't just point out the problem, it also offers a way forward. There are actual, concrete steps we can take to start rebuilding some boundaries and use these tools a lot more intentionally. Dr. Rodas actually proposes what he calls an individual boundary protocol, and it's a series of really practical steps. Step 1, just decide what's not for public consumption. Maybe keep work drama or money issues off the main feed. Step 2, fight that context collapse. Use those close friends lists or private groups. Step 3, and this one is huge, break the reward loop. Turn off all those non-essential notifications. Step 4, if you're feeling emotional, give yourself a 12 to 24-hour cooling off period before you post. And finally, step 5, just be skeptical of what you see. It's basically a toolkit for digital self-defense. And that leads us to one last, really big question. Taking these individual steps is powerful, for sure. It can definitely help. But it also puts all of the responsibility on us, the user. So what are we supposed to do when we're trying so hard to build healthy boundaries inside an environment that was fundamentally designed from the ground up to break them down? That's definitely something to think about.